Welcome to another show. Today, with the help of Luke Y. Thompson, we're going to look at 12 reasons why the original series is the best Star Trek show. Everyone has their favorite incarnation of Star Trek. There's something to recommend in just about every version. Fans who like weirder aliens can enjoy Prodigy. Those who want to see characters' moralities challenged in times of war have Deep Space Nine. For some, Patrick Stewart's master thespian skills make The Next Generation an undisputed winner, while others may argue that Star Trek was never about great acting, but rather broadly operatic sci-fi adventures. So, which is the best? Beat for beat, episode for episode, it has to be the very first Star Trek show, known to fans as Star Trek, the original series. Almost every subsequent incarnation of Trek draws its strengths from the original, and their weaker episodes usually occur when they depart from the roadmap that the original series provided. Meanwhile, every episode featuring William Shatner's Captain Kirk, Leonard Nimoy's Mr. Spock, DeForest Kelley's Dr. McCoy, and the rest is, at its worst, still compulsively watchable. Let's run down the reasons why. 12. There was nothing else like it on TV. Star Trek was flexible in the genres it covered. It tackled historical fiction by going to planets made up of gangsters and Nazis. It explored prejudice through the metaphors of various alien species. Episodes highlighting tribbles and hairy mud provided comedy, while the pursuit of a Romulan ship had echoes of a submarine drama. Even biblical allegories were on the table. However, no matter what form an episode's story took, it usually involved a subtle parallel with the present and a moral applicable to life here on Earth. By contrast, most other shows on TV in the 60s stayed in their lanes. Even the closest competitor to Star Trek, Lost in Space, was a much more straightforward space adventure. Part of the series' versatility came from the push and pull between the network and Roddenberry. The former wanted action, while the latter preferred more cerebral stories. NBC even rejected the first Star Trek pilot, The Cage, but allowed Roddenberry to make a second, Where No Man Has Gone Before, which sealed the deal. Roddenberry ultimately got the best of both worlds, of course, by reusing footage from The Cage in the two-part episode The Menagerie. 11. The catchphrases.
The thing is virtually made out of stone.
Help it, treat it. I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer.
Aside from Jean-Luc Picard's Engage and Make It So, few Star Trek deliver memorable catchphrases. However, even people who never watch science fiction can quote all three the original series leads. The character's quotability was even the premise of a hit 1987 novelty song by the firm.
Star trekking across the universe. On the Starship Enterprise under Captain Kirk,
which ended up topping the charts in the United Kingdom. Kirk never actually said "Beam me up, Scotty" on the series, but he did utter a number of variations. Scotty, beam us up, Scotty, beam me up, a simple beam us up, and so on. On the other hand, Spock did often utter illogical and fascinating when faced with improbable phenomena, and Dr. McCoy's "Damn it, he's dead, Jim," and "I'm a doctor, not a blank," are stone-cold classics. We love Captain Sisko and Deep Space Nine, but does he have a single signature quote as memorable as any of these? If you have to ask, then the answer is a resounding no. 10. Martin Luther King Jr. let his kids watch it. In related what is, perhaps, the most famous anecdote she ever told, the late Nichelle Nichols has talked repeatedly about how she wanted to quit Star Trek, and how she was talked out of it by none other than the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. King met Nichols at an NAACP meeting and told her how important it was for viewers to see a black woman in a position of authority. This wasn't just conjecture. The character of Uhura was so important to Whoopi Goldberg that she inspired Goldberg to become an actress, and was the main reason why Goldberg pushed so hard for a role on Star Trek: The Next Generation. What often gets buried in retellings of this story is that King also confided in Nichols that Star Trek was the only show that he and his wife, Coretta, would let their 3 kids stay up late to watch. 9. It spawned modern fandom as we know it. Have you ever signed a petition to keep your favorite show from being canceled? What about attending a fan convention? Well, if so, you're following in the footsteps of the original Trekkies, a letter-writing campaign organized by fans. the first ever designed to keep a show on the air, helped get Star Trek renewed for Season 3. After the series' cancellation in 1969, conventions kept the show's fandom alive, paving the way for the proposed sequel series that ultimately became the first Star Trek movie. In the 80s, comic book fans Gary Berman and Adam Mallon formed Creation Entertainment and made Star Trek cons a lucrative business. Star Trek conventions did not invent cosplay. However, they have been a hub for hobbyist costumers from the beginning. 8. Diverse casting was the point. Gene Roddenberry went out of his way to depict a multiracial, multinational crew to give Cold War-era audiences hope that in the future, racism, nationalism, and xenophobia would be quaint relics of the past. Sexism, maybe not so much. While diversity has continued to be a key value of Star Trek, the optimism hasn't always. Partly because Roddenberry toward the end of his life overcorrected and insisted there never be any conflict between crew members. The moment he was gone, we got the militarism of Deep Space Nine, the far-from-home despair of Voyager, and Enterprise doing Space 911. 7. Everybody you know does a Shatner impersonation.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't talk like that.
Mr. Spock, my friend, we've got to do something.
As you can tell, I don't talk like that.
Although the faces seem the same.
The dramatic pauses, the hand gestures. William Shatner is one of those impressions that everybody thinks they can do. Some celebrities have his mannerisms down pretty well. Kevin Pollak and Jim Carrey come to mind. And John Belushi wasn't bad either. However, the point is that, if you start talking in the pauses, doing the hands, and blurting out Spock, almost everyone knows who you're supposed to be. Can anybody say that about Captain Archer or Sisko? Janeway's more distinctive, but impressions of her also resemble Primac Conehead. Shatner is a category unto himself, made even more so by the fact that he started leaning into the caricature once it became ubiquitous. Ironically, the episode from which most Shatner imitations seem to derive is Turnabout Intruder, in which a neurotic woman possesses Kirk's body.
It is mutiny! Deliberate, vindictive, insane at its base. But mutiny is charged, and encouragement of mutiny. Dr. McCoy, Mr. Scott, you heard it?
So, really, everyone's actually doing an impression of Shatner's impression of female hysteria.
The lives of 430 crewmen stand in the balance.
This is hysterical, really.
Death, disease, destruction, horror.
He's laughing while he's doing it, so he knows it's not working.
Dr. McCoy is right in pointing out the inherent risk in dealing with any alien species. But risk is our business.
He's memorized the dialogue from the show.
That's what the Starship is all about. That's why we're aboard her.
That was part 1 of our show on top 12 reasons why the original series is still the best of the bunch. Part 2 will be out within a week. What do you think? Which of the Star Trek series do you think was the best? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section, and while you're at it, I'd be honored if you subscribe to my channel, click the bell to stay informed, and check out my Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter franchise also in the comments section. And until next time, this is Axelin for Kevin Given saying live long and prosper, may the force be with you and keep reaching for the stars.